just because there's a lot of people, 50, I feel like he don't have to say nothing, but 50's crazy. He's been like this his whole life. When he's on the block, oh shit, 50's coming.
50 Cent's documentary was originally expected to be all about Diddy. That's what people thought they were signing up for. But once the series dropped, the conversation started going in a totally different direction. Instead of only focusing on Diddy, the internet suddenly locked in on old rumors and online claims connecting Diddy and Jay-Z, with people questioning how much power certain figures may have had behind the scenes in the industry.
Paying attention to the music to understand that there's a problem getting ready to take place.
Are you and Game, you think your relationship is repairable?
I don't know what really caused it, big. So I'm.
And it wasn't just one random rumor either. The same name kept getting brought up over and over again, Caddy White. Online discussions and blogs have pushed claims that she allegedly had a private relationship with Jay-Z and was supposedly preparing to speak publicly before her sudden passing. Then came the shocking part that really got people talking. According to the timeline spreading online, she reportedly passed away less than a day later. That alone was enough to send social media into detective mode instantly. But the energy around this story changed fast. At first, people were only asking whether Jay-Z knew anything about Diddy's situation. Now, the internet is going way further than that.
With the series, with the film.
I mean, I think the intention is to give a more full-bodied experience to what happened, you know, from the people that agreed to sit down and to participate. And I feel like the film asks a lot of questions, you know, maybe more questions are asked than answers given.
People online are starting to ask how many stories from that era were quietly buried or ignored before social media made it impossible to control every narrative. And slow down for a second, because this whole thing exploded crazy fast. The documentary shot straight to #1 on Netflix, and almost immediately the attention shifted toward Jay-Z too. The timing made the reactions even louder, because this all came after the Diddy conviction, the Homeland Security raids, and that hotel footage from CNN that had already shaken up public opinion in a major way. At this point, a lot of viewers already expect shocking headlines whenever powerful celebrities get mentioned. That's why the online accusations started spreading so quickly. Right now, some people on social media are pushing the idea that Jay-Z was more connected to these situations than many originally believed. The Katie White story especially keeps getting dragged back into the spotlight every few months. According to online speculation, she was allegedly planning to speak publicly. There were also rumors claiming she was pregnant at the time. Later, officials stated her passing was caused by an aneurysm.
That's not really beef though. That's just competitive energy,
competitiveness.
All right, so you and Diddy, you and Puff cool?
No, I don't really rock with him
okay,
like that.
damn, all right. I didn't know what that meant. All right.
Still, the rumors and theories never fully disappeared, and now this documentary has introduced those conversations to an even bigger audience. At this stage, it's not just about whether people believe every claim. It's about why so many people suddenly seem willing to question stories they ignored for years. And honestly, the old celebrity protection machine does not seem as untouchable as it once did. For decades, somebody like Jay-Z looked almost impossible to criticize publicly on a massive level. Big media outlets stayed careful. Publicists worked overtime controlling headlines. Lawyers reportedly pressured people to stay quiet. But now that wall looks weaker than ever, and this documentary only added more pressure to the situation. The bigger reason is everything that happened before the documentary even released.
Obviously, just starting out his time, well, not just starting out, but starting out his official sentence since being sentenced not too long ago. And I think suffice to say, it's not going well so far.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, he's got 4 years and change that he's going to ultimately have to serve, although he has served already a year as he awaited his trial and then went through his trial. So
Diddy is already sitting in federal prison. The raids happened publicly. The footage is everywhere online. More accusations and lawsuits kept appearing. And meanwhile, 50 Cent, who many people used to brush off as just trolling for attention, suddenly sounds a lot more believable to some viewers today, especially after he repeatedly claimed he stayed far away from certain circles and certain rooms. He said the vibe around those rooms never felt right. Back then, a lot of people brushed those comments off like 50 Cent was just trolling again. But now, people are replaying those old interviews with a whole different mindset. That's the shift everybody keeps noticing. To many viewers, 50 no longer sounds like somebody chasing drama. He sounds like the guy who kept warning people publicly while the rest of the industry stayed quiet and acted like nothing was happening. And that's exactly why this story keeps getting harder to ignore online. While social media keeps tearing apart every rumor and allegation, Jay-Z has also been stacking legal wins in court. The Jane Doe lawsuit that accused him alongside Diddy in connection to an alleged incident involving a minor at an MTV Video Music Awards afterparty was officially withdrawn with prejudice.
Said never before seen footage of the days leading up to his arrest. Can you just talk a little bit about, was there anything that surprised you from that footage?
The footage, well, I mean, I think it's rare to find someone who's being, talked about all over the country. All eyes were on him, so to speak. And it was really interesting to see his last days of freedom,
Legally, that matters a lot because it means the same. Claim cannot simply be refiled again later. Jay-Z's legal team immediately called it a complete victory and proof the accusations had no foundation. But even after the case was dropped, the conversation never really disappeared online. The accuser later claimed she backed away from the lawsuit because she felt overwhelmed, frightened, and heavily pressured. According to her statements, people she believed were connected to Jay-Z's legal team allegedly approached her near her home and wanted her to sign paperwork saying the allegations were false. She said she refused to do that. So now you end up with a strange situation where the legal case is over, but public debate around it is still everywhere. That's the part making this whole situation spiral online. Courtrooms deal with evidence and legal standards. The internet deals with emotion, suspicion, and public perception. A clean legal outcome on paper does not always stop people from continuing to question the bigger story around it. And right now, that gap between the courtroom result and online reaction is getting wider by the day. Then the situation became even more bizarre. The same accuser claimed 2 people approached her and allegedly identified themselves as investigators connected to one of Jay-Z's attorneys.
Very ominous signs for him, although interestingly, we haven't seen the indictments yet. There's been some time lag. I suppose it will take some time to go through all the forensic, evidence.
According to her account, they asked whether her lawyer, Tony Busby, had pressured her or offered money in exchange for false accusations. She said no, and she also claimed the interaction left her shaken because her identity was supposed to stay protected through the court filings. Meanwhile, Jay-Z has not stayed quiet for even a second. He's been fighting back aggressively through the legal system. He filed defamation claims against the accuser and also launched legal action against attorney Tony Busby tied to extortion allegations. His attorney, Alex Spiro, has publicly described the accusations as a sham, a shakedown, and a complete fabrication. But online, that aggressive strategy has created another problem entirely. The harder the legal response becomes, the more some people on social media start viewing it as an attempt to crush the conversation altogether. Normally, strong legal action is supposed to restore a celebrity's image and shut rumors down fast. But in today's climate, especially after so many major celebrity scandals, some viewers react the exact opposite way. People start wondering why everything feels so intense and defensive. And once those questions start spreading online, they move fast. Because when you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, the conversation people keep circling back to is no longer only about whether Jane Doe's claims were true or false. The question many people are now obsessed with is how deep the connection between Jay-Z and Diddy really went behind closed doors. And the people speaking on that connection now are not describing some basic industry friendship where 2 rappers just ran into each other at award shows. Gene Deal, a longtime insider tied to Diddy's circle for years, has publicly shared stories that a lot of viewers online are struggling to ignore. According to Deal, the relationship between Diddy and Jay-Z looked way closer behind the scenes than most fans originally realized. He even described moments that people online instantly started dissecting frame by frame. One story he told involved the 2 allegedly spending time around the same women together. Then he brought up an old Atlanta concert moment where Diddy reportedly walked on stage, patted Jay-Z on the backside, and told the crowd nobody else in the world could call him by his real name except Sean Carter. To many viewers, that does not sound like 2 businessmen who only linked up for contracts and meetings. It sounds personal, tight, almost like they moved as a unit socially for years. And that's the exact point people like Gene Deal are trying to make publicly. If two men were genuinely that close for that long, then many people online find it difficult to believe one knew absolutely nothing about the other's private life or controversies. And once that conversation starts, everything circles back to the catty white rumors again. Because if these insider stories are even partially accurate, then people online immediately start asking tougher questions about who knew what and when. The rumors being pushed across social media are direct and explosive. According to online speculation, Katie White allegedly had a private relationship with Jay-Z, was supposedly preparing to speak publicly, and then suddenly passed away within a very short time frame. Then came the moment in 50 Cent's documentary that really sent the internet into overdrive. During one part of the series, 50 references Diddy allegedly being in Las Vegas at Tao with a woman named Claudia around that same period. And instead of dancing around the rumors carefully, he stares straight into the camera and asks Diddy whether it was truly an aneurysm or whether somebody paid off the coroner. That line hit social media like gasoline on a fire. He didn't say it quietly either. He delivered it with the energy of somebody who had been sitting on those thoughts for years and finally decided to say them publicly once cameras were rolling. That single scene completely changed how many people online started discussing the entire situation. After that, clips exploded everywhere. People started reposting old footage nonstop, stitching together videos of Jay-Z and Diddy partying together, laughing at events, making speeches, standing side by side at clubs and industry functions, while internet commentators added dramatic music and conspiracy-style breakdowns over the top of it all. And the tone online has changed heavily. A lot of people are no longer saying, maybe there's something weird here. Now they're saying, look at all the similarities and timing. That shift is where things become dangerous for public figures, because once public opinion starts leaning one direction, legal victories alone do not always repair the damage. The internet does not operate like a courtroom. Online audiences do not wait for beyond a reasonable doubt. They focus on repeated stories, suspicious timing, emotional reactions, old clips, and perceived patterns. And right now, many viewers believe they are looking at a pattern that feels disturbing to them. A dropped lawsuit that still fuels debate online, an accuser claiming she felt pressured, years of closeness with Diddy, and now a documentary throwing fresh attention onto old rumors people thought had disappeared. Put all those pieces together, and suddenly the image around Jay-Z starts looking very different to a lot of people watching this unfold online. And maybe the most noticeable part right now is not even the accusations themselves, it's the silence around them. Major celebrities are not rushing to publicly defend Jay-Z. Big executives are not flooding social media with statements of support. And when the industry suddenly gets quiet like that, people online always start reading between the lines. The people who normally jump in fast to protect major celebrity brands suddenly seem way quieter than usual. And in today's internet climate, silence does not automatically make people think somebody is innocent anymore. A lot of viewers see that silence and immediately start assuming fear is involved. They think people either know more than they want to say publicly or simply do not want their own names dragged into the chaos next. That's usually how these situations spiral online. First, rumors start bubbling in smaller circles. Then insiders begin dropping little comments here and there. After that, a documentary or interview lands, and suddenly everybody acts like they had doubts the whole time. People have watched this exact pattern happen too many times with powerful celebrities, so now audiences instantly become suspicious when they see the same warning signs appear again. That's why the lack of loud public support around Jay-Z has become part of the story itself. To many people online, the silence does not feel neutral at all. It feels calculated. It feels careful. And once viewers start thinking like that, every missing statement and every quiet celebrity suddenly becomes another piece of the puzzle in their minds. That's the dangerous part for any celebrity in the middle of a controversy this big. Jay-Z could continue winning motions in court for months, and it still would not erase what millions of people watched, clipped, reposted, and debated from that documentary. It would not undo how quickly the public conversation shifted after it released either. So where does all of this leave the situation now? From a legal standpoint, Jay-Z appears to be in a much stronger position than he was months ago. There are currently no criminal charges tying him to Diddy's legal problems, and his attorneys have aggressively challenged the accusations while filing defamation-related claims of their own. But even with all that, public curiosity has not disappeared at all. People still keep asking the same questions online. Was he closer to these situations than he admitted publicly? Did he know more than people realize? Or was the relationship between him and Diddy even deeper behind the scenes than fans understood for years? And meanwhile, Katie White is no longer being discussed like some forgotten side character in internet gossip. Online, she has become the centerpiece of the darkest theories connected to this entire saga. And the longer people feel they are not getting clear answers, the more suspicion fills that silence. If 50 Cent drops more footage, more interviews, or if Diddy himself ever decides to publicly respond in detail, this story could explode into something even bigger than it already is. Now think about what all of this means for the people who once believed they were untouchable. Diddy is not sitting isolated in some underground supermax with zero outside contact. Reports say he's being held in a lower security federal facility in New Jersey, the kind of place where lawyers still visit regularly. Conversations keep happening and information continues moving behind the scenes. And inside federal prison, the most valuable currency is not fame, money, or luxury anymore. It's information. And Diddy has allegedly spent decades inside some of the biggest rooms in entertainment history. He knows the industry politics. He knows who was around certain events. He knows which celebrities were connected socially, professionally, and privately over the years. Somebody with that much knowledge instantly becomes interesting to prosecutors if they ever decide they want a broader picture of how certain environments operated. That's the part making a lot of people nervous online right now. Because once prosecutors believe somebody may have valuable information, the possibility of cooperation immediately enters the conversation. And when somebody is already convicted and facing serious consequences, the idea of cutting deals can suddenly start looking very attractive. That's how many federal cases are believed to work behind the scenes. Prosecutors want bigger pictures, bigger names, and broader explanations about how certain situations allegedly operated. And if somebody has spent 30 years around celebrities, executives, private parties, and closed-door industry circles, then naturally people assume that person probably knows things the public never heard before. And if Diddy ever decided cooperation was the smartest move for himself, that's where this story could become explosive in a completely different way. Because suddenly, every celebrity who spent years trying to distance themselves from controversy could end up pulled right back into public discussion again. Especially the people who have spent months publicly fighting accusations, denying rumors, and trying to present themselves as untouched by all this chaos. At that point, no press release or legal statement would be enough to control the conversation anymore. And honestly, that's the kind of detail that sticks with people after the documentary ends. It points toward a level of emotional pressure and confusion far beyond the glamorous celebrity image the public used to see on television and at parties. In the end, the verdict itself reflected that confusion. Diddy was convicted on some counts but avoided conviction on the most serious accusations. And mixed verdicts like that rarely give the public a sense of closure. Instead, they leave room for appeals, endless debate online, and constant arguments about whether the full truth was ever uncovered in the first place. According to the rumors repeated online, she was allegedly preparing to speak publicly. There were also claims she was expecting a child. Then, according to the timeline people keep debating, she suddenly passed away within roughly 24 hours. The official explanation has remained the same publicly, but for many internet commentators, the unanswered questions surrounding that timeline never fully disappeared. Because at the end of the day, court victories and lawsuits do not always erase suspicion once public opinion starts shifting. The legal system moves slowly and carefully. The internet moves fast, emotional, and non-stop. A lot of people online have already formed strong opinions, not because of one single piece of evidence, but because they believe too many strange details keep stacking on top of each other. Meanwhile, 50 Cent keeps hinting there's still more coming. More interviews, more footage, more behind-the-scenes details that supposedly have not been released publicly yet. And that's why the documentary did not feel like a conclusion to many viewers. It felt more like the beginning of a much larger storm. Every few weeks, another clip resurfaces, another insider suddenly speaks. Another old timeline gets re-examined online from a completely different angle. Diddy may be in prison right now, but his legal team is still actively fighting the case. The possibility of appeals is still hanging in the air. The pardon conversation has not disappeared either. And maybe the biggest question people keep asking is this: if Diddy ever gets a legal break, wins on appeal, or decides cooperation is his smartest move, does anybody seriously believe he stays completely silent after all of this? Because if he ever starts publicly talking in detail, the person with the most to lose could end up being the same person who spent this entire time trying to appear untouched by the controversy. If you made it this far, let me know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more breakdowns and updates as this story keeps unfolding.